is Christina from Access Princeton, and today we're doing a live broadcast with the Emergency Management Director, Bob Gregory. September is National Preparedness Month, so in honor of that, today we're going to talk to Bob, and we're going to get some tips on preparing for emergencies. Now, Bob works out of the Emergency Management Office, which is located in Monument Hall, and also in this office are the fire safety and rental housing inspections. So if you have any questions about commercial fire inspections, rental housing inspections, or fire safety education, this is the place to call. So, hi Bob, how are you today?
Good. How are you? How's everybody out there?
Good. Okay, so can you explain to us a little bit, what is National Preparedness Month?
So National Preparedness Month is a time when we like to reach out to the community and make sure that individual households, individuals are prepared for emergencies. And, you know, as we get closer to August and into September, it's hurricane season, which means winds, floods, power outages. So we like to get out ahead of the curve and let people know what to do to prepare themselves if this should happen.
Okay, great. And this week, the topic for National Preparedness Month is floods. What tips can you offer for people to be prepared for flooding?
Well, one big thing that we've learned from past hurricanes is if you are in an area in your town, your house, that you flood, generators are usually very helpful. And let me explain a little bit. A lot of homes have sump pumps, so they may have water problems already from high water tables. And when the electric goes down, the sump pumps stop. And that is usually a cause of flooding in homes. So if you have a backup generator, you can keep your sump pump on it and keep it running. Now, sometimes it does get overwhelmed by the amount of water due to the storms. So then you need to go into other type of preparedness, which is finding out where your local shelters or reception centers are, where you could take your family and go to and you know, seek some refuge until the storm subsides and you get a better assessment on what the flood damage is.
Okay, great. And then this year also the theme they say is don't wait, communicate, make your emergency plan today. What do you think they mean by that? What are they trying to get across?
So emergency plans are, there's a lot out there. So you could look at fire safety and you have evacuation plans. You know, what happens if you have a fire in your home? You evacuate, make a meeting place, teach your children how to go to that meeting place and wait for their parents to come out to meet with them. So when it comes to other emergencies, such as floods and storm-related things, one of the things that we like to talk about is sheltering in place, right? So we have found that a lot of individuals, homeowners, don't like to leave their house per se. They'd like to stay with their house. So we're telling you to be prepared. Make sure you have backup generators. If you don't have a generator, there are a lot of other devices you can get to kind of, you know, plug in your cell phone, your computer, other things in your home. Have battery flashlights, battery-powered radios on hand. So those are the type of things you can prepare to have, so you can, you know, kind of see in the dark and find your way around, especially to check your home. The other thing, preparedness-wise, and here in Princeton, we just finished our first CERT class, Community Emergency Response Team. And one of the key things with CERT is training people on all these elements that deal with planning and preparedness. And we're touching on a few today, but in that class we cover a lot of them, all of them. And the first thing and most important thing is that you take care of your family, and then you reach out to your community and your neighborhood and help and see what's going on with other people, who has medical needs, who might need to, you know, leave their home for whatever the reason may be. And then the bigger part of CERT is actually getting involved in helping emergency services with different aspects of their response. So I would encourage individuals who want to learn more about CERT training, you know, that they contact my office here or reach out to Access Princeton, because they can get in contact with me and get information out about CERT training. But that training covers a lot of the preparedness that we're talking about and how to basically ready yourself, ready your home so that you can survive when the power goes out and you can't get out to the food store.
That's a great idea. I forgot about the CERT team. Now, what about alerts for the town? Should people sign up for emergency alerts in town?
Yes, emergency alerts are great because they're going to keep you in a loop and keep the information flowing. So, again, one of the key things is that your computer's up and running. Continue to monitor Access Princeton because they put out a lot of good information here in town. But also, you can go on the Princeton webpage, princeton.gov, and click on emergency phone calls, and it'll have a form for you to fill out. And what that'll do is it'll put you in a database, and when there's alerts, whether it's a storm emergency or a simple road closing, the police department puts out alerts to let the community know what's going on in a certain situation. And that helps to keep the information flowing.
Okay, great. Now, Princeton is known for some flooding. What specific tips can you offer people if they come across a flooded area or experience flooding in their home?
Well, two things. One is with flooding in your home, first thing you need to worry about is your utilities. So if you start to get water in your basement, you have a hot water heater, a furnace, outlets. Some homes in Princeton have their gas meters in the basement. You need to call 911. The fire department will respond, and they'll make sure that your utilities are shut down. If they can't get to them, they'll try to get the public utilities out to help shut those down. But that's first, because you could have a live electric issue once the water starts hitting outlets and getting into those types of things. The other thing is when you're out, for some reason people think they can beat that flood and drive through it with their car. And I can say that being in emergency services for over 30 years, I really haven't met a car that, besides a military type vehicle, and even they're a little, sketchy sometimes, you're just not going to get through the water. So if a road's blocked, if you see a flooded roadway, don't try to go through it. If you can't turn around, you need to just call 911 and tell them you're stuck and you're not going through the water, but you can't get out of the area, and they'll come and assist. And should you try to beat the system and get stuck in the water, try to remain calm, and if you have a phone on you, call 911 so that help can come and get you out of that car.
Okay, is there any tips you can offer if they do get stuck or stall in water?
Right, so you need to be very careful about getting out of your vehicle, because if you have fast moving water and you get out of your vehicle, it could sweep you away very easily. So again, the best thing is don't go through it, but if you are stuck in it, the best thing you can do is call 911 and get help coming on the way.
Okay. What exactly is flash flooding? We hear a lot about that on the news. The weather puts out flash floods alerts. What exactly is that?
Right. So flash flooding is basically when you have a storm come up upon you, and you just go right. It's kind of like 0 to 60 miles per hour. All of a sudden, you're pretty much on dry ground 1 minute, and then the next minute you are, possibly to your ankles and knees in water. And it happens for many reasons, but it's a dangerous situation, a flash flood, because it could take people by surprise, and that's one of the biggest hazards of it. The other thing is, if you wanted to find out more information, you can go on the FEMA.gov site and look under preparedness. They have a bunch of different categories, and they'll give you some information, more information on flash flooding. And a lot of times, like wintertime, people don't think of flooding too much with snow, but when you start to get the ice melt, and then all of a sudden you get a rainstorm on top of it, you can get a flash flood, meaning you can flood in areas that don't normally do, just because of the volume of water that's there. People don't usually think of ice and snow as water, but in essence, that's what it is. So when it melts, you got a whole bunch coming at you.
That's a great tip. I didn't even think about flooding in the wintertime, so hopefully we won't have as much snow as we've had in the past. You don't have to worry about it. Any tips you can offer for kids when it comes to flooding and high water and things like that?
Yes. Water safety is something that I think is overlooked, greatly overlooked in our society. There's so many things going on, but one of the things I see with our youth of today, they tend to see it as a good time. Hey, look, we got water coming over a bridge, the lake is frozen, and it becomes an adventure for them. So, I would stress the parents and the kids out there that, these are dangerous situations. It's not somewhere to be playing a game or, trying your first time at whitewater rafting in the middle of a hurricane. So they need to avoid those areas. And the other thing is for parents with kids who have cell phones, make sure that they have contact information to contact you, make sure they know how to contact 911, and explain to a 911 operator what's happening.
Okay. One other thing I just want to touch base on, like an evacuation plan. I know, like I said, Princeton has a tendency to flood in some areas.
Right.
Now, when you're talking about evacuating, if we're talking about evacuating a whole neighborhood or just evacuating your home, what tips and things can you offer with that?
Right. So, in the event that we would have to evacuate a neighborhood, we would have to set up a area where we would transport the individuals to, and then further assess what their needs are and go from there. But if an area needs to be evacuated, you need to wait for responders to come because we have very good emergency services in town, and Princeton First Aid and Rescue Squad is the lead agency with water rescue, and they have trained individuals, equipment, they have a boat, and then the fire department supports their effort. And in that situation, we would work together with police to make sure whatever affected areas were evacuated properly and safely. So we just don't want people, trying to dive in or paddle their way out. So again, if you feel like you're getting to that situation, we would want you to call 911 so we could respond, assess it, and then safely evacuate individuals.
And what should somebody take with them if they're asked to evacuate, whether they do it before police or responders come to help them, or they do it when the responders get there?
Right, so some key personal things to take. Medications are number one. If you have medications, make sure you have them with you. Your electronic devices to make notifications to whoever you may need notification to. Those are the two big things. If it's in a dire emergency where we need to get people out, usually what we'll do is when things subside, we'll go back in and see what we can salvage and take. But first and foremost is if you have any medications, anything like that. Okay. And we are currently, working on a plan. I've been in some contact with Red Cross about pets as well. So I know individuals will take their pets, so we're working out a plan for a pet shelter.
Okay, great. Good to hear. And then where can we get more information on this to prepare for a flood?
Well, we have some things on the Princeton.gov website, but you can also go to FEMA.gov and just look up preparedness. They have a lot of information and a lot of good things like making a plan. Like I have printed out some things here. This is one of the things that the Ready.gov, FEMA.gov has on there. So if you're looking to make a family communication plan for your children, this is the type of thing they have. Very simple to put phone numbers and things and put it in the backpack. Okay.
Any last comments you want to make?
If you have questions, please give us a holler. Reach out to my office, Access Princeton. You can find our information on the website.
Okay, great. Thank you, Bob, for your time. I hope everybody got some information about this. Next week we'll be touching base with Bob again or someone from his staff to talk about preparing for wildfires.